Hey YouTube, Rubicon is in the basement today. I had a day off of work. I'm doing some real estate stuff and I'm taking a break to upload a video. Haven't done one in a long time. I really don't have anything to report, but I'm gonna get this out right away. For those of you who want to airbrush, this is probably what you should get. It's a $75 Neo for Iwata. That's I-W-A-T-A. Neo, it's Iwata Neo, N-E-O, an Iwata Neo. 75 bucks. You get the hose, I believe is like 25 bucks to go along with your compressor. And I wanted to get this out so you can stop the video right now if you're thinking about airbrushing. You want to get this because it's going to solve all your problems. If you want to hear the long story with all my troubleshooting and all the problems I've had, stay tuned for the rest of this video. But to sum up in the very beginning, I'm not going to do the teaser thing. This is what you want to get. And I can tell you the story first and make you wait through the whole video, make you skip to the end. This is what you need. It's called an Iwata Neo is what it is. And it's really cool. It has this gravity feed. It's got nice action on it. And put your paint in there. You can put the cap on if you want. You don't have to. It's got a smaller little cap thing. I've taken this apart, looked at the needle. All the tolerances on it are really good, and I cleaned it out and have worked with it and sprayed with it. And I am not know a ton about airbrushing, but what I do know is I know how they should work because I've seen a lot of videos, and I know what problems I've had with the airbrush that I did get. Now, this is where the fun story starts. So I was watching a video and the guy said, airbrushing is no problem. All you really need to do is just go out and get the cheapest airbrush that you can find, and so long as you're using your medium and the right kind of paint and all that stuff, you should be completely fine. Just use the cheapest airbrush you can find. So that's what I did. Ran right out. $7.99, folks. 3 months worth of freaking heartache and trouble and anger and frustration and buying water traps and fiddling with different pressures on my compressor, and I mean, you name it. It was a freaking nightmare. Different mediums, different paints. I've taken this thing apart a couple times too, and I didn't break it, if that's what you're thinking. I didn't break it, and that's why I have problems. It just is a shitty airbrush. Central pneumatic is what it is, and it's just, it just doesn't work. If this thing clogs, no matter what paint I put in, no matter what pressure I use, no matter what water trap, no matter what medium I use, no, it doesn't matter. I mean, this is not a gravity feed, so there is this sucking up effect. You put your little thing on the back end here, and it's supposed to suck up the paint, which it does, but because the tolerances on this thing are so absolutely incredibly poor, it clogs. I mean, the longest continuous spray that I was able to get out of this thing was maybe 15 seconds, and then it clogged, and that was with the most diluted medium that you could possibly get. So here's the funny story. I saw the video and I ran out and found the cheapest airbrush I could find. Like I said, this is like $7.99 or $9.99, something like that. Ran out, got this, came back with my compressor and my water trap and all these things, because I saw these things might be necessary when you're airbrushing. And I came back and I hooked everything up, and I was real excited to use it. And I used it and it worked like crap. So I thought, dang, that's really odd. I know that I could use acrylic paint and use a medium and, for lack of better terms, water it down, and it should be good. So I got some of my cheap acrylic paint and the medium for it, and I watered it down, and I got a 15-second spray, woohoo, 15-second spray, and then it clogged. And the spray that came out was so watered down that, not watered down, but whatever the medium is that you use, it was so diluted that it was not even worth anything. It was 15 seconds, then it got clogged, and then after it got clogged for those 15 seconds, I had to take the whole thing apart, clean the whole thing again for what, another 15 seconds? I mean, there was nothing that you could do, no matter. And so I called a friend of mine and I said, hey, what do you know about airbrushing, if anything? He goes, oh, I know a ton about airbrushing. I said, you do? He said, yes. I said, but what's my problem? He's like, you got a shitty airbrush. I go, come on, airbrush can't make that much of a difference. I mean, this thing feels like the other one a little bit, you know, it's the same shape and same everything. I go, can't be that much difference. So kind of blew him off a little bit, and again, a couple weeks went by, frustrated. I'm gonna buy some airbrush paint. So I bought special airbrush paint, thinking that maybe it was the acrylic paint that I was using and the medium that I was using. Bought special airbrush paint. Guess what? 12 seconds of spray, clogged. Got it unclogged, clog, 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 clog. So much frustration. So my friend said, you need to go to this hobby store and get this. They have them for $75. You'll never want another airbrush. It's perfect for what you're doing. Yada, yada, yada. So I go there, I buy it, and I bought the air hose that goes with that, because you know you're supposed to use, if you buy the paint, you're supposed to use the medium for that paint. If you buy this airbrush, you should use their airbrush hose, whatever. So I bought it. So the Iwata was $75. The air hose was like another $23 or something like that. I wound up spending like $101, something like that. So I came home, I brought it home, and then I started still messing around with this hunk of crap. And I kept using it and using it and using it, and my buddy calls me after a couple weeks. He's like, hey, how's that Iwata you doing? And I said, I haven't even used it yet. He's like, why aren't you using it? It's gonna save you so much pressure. I go, because I'm afraid I'm gonna break it, because I don't know enough about airbrushing to keep taking these apart, and I want to make sure that, because I did break this one, but I was able to fix it. I took it apart all the way, and this little tab thingy, there's a little, I don't know, little metal bridge like thing in there that has to fit in there just right. Anyways, what ended up happening is I kept messing around. He's laughing at me. He's like, why don't you just use the airbrush that you bought? I would, but I'm afraid I'm going to break it. I don't want to break the new airbrush, taking it apart. I want to learn a little bit more about it. So, and this is where it was funny, because how freaking stupid was I? You know, I sell real estate, and people all the time say stuff like, well, I should do this, and I saw this on HGTV, and I was watching this realtor show, and I know, you know, and everybody tries to be a professional in your field. It's like nobody gives the doctor a second guess. You go into the doctor, and the doctor says, gee, I think we should admit you because these are the indicators that show that you need to be admitted to the hospital. Nobody says, no, I don't think so. I think I saw on HGTV that I don't need to be admitted for these things, and you know, I don't think I want to be. So, but if you're a realtor, people second guess you all the time. Oh, you don't know the mark. It's your job. It's your profession. You're a realtor, for God's sake. So, people feel free to second guess realtor. I was a teacher for a while. People feel free to second guess teachers too. But so here I am. I'm second guessing my friend. I don't want to break it, Steve. I don't know enough about airbrushing. I don't want to ruin it. Ralph, this is what I do. I do airbrushing. I know a lot about it. Would you please just use the airbrush? So finally, over the weekend, my son was away and stuff, and I thought, you know what, this is it. I'm going to break out and I'll put this thing away and never touch it again, except for now, so that save you guys some time. And I went out and I did buy this Neo, or I had bought the Neo already. I got this, and it was just like he said. Went out, filled it up with good paint. I bought this stuff, and this was just like 30 bucks or something like that. But I bought these colors. This is called Model Air. I bought these, and I diluted it a little bit with the medium that's supposed to go for Model Air, which is over here on the end, thinner medium. So I did use the thinner medium, and I'll tell you what, the airbrush worked exactly the way that it's supposed to. Exactly. The coverage was perfect. The amount coming out, even with this nozzle and this needle, the amount of spray that came out, it could be fine, it could be thick, it could be heavy, it could be thin, because the little plunger thing that you use, it's a dual action, so you press it down for the air and pull it back for the paint. It was smooth. It was a wonderful experience to use that, and think of how much frustration it could have saved. You know, I don't know, this one over here was, like I said, $7. This one over here was $75. I had to buy a hose for both, so its hoses were roughly the same. So $9 here roughly and $75 here, so for roughly $60 that I really want to spend 2 months worth of absolute hair pulling frustration. And if you saw my other video, you got a picture of my beautiful face, and you know I don't have much more hair to pull. So It was just a wonderful experience. And there's a fella, I don't know what his YouTube channel is off the top of my head, but he painted some frost phoenixes, and I was watching the way that the paint comes out of the airbrush, and this little Neo for 75 bucks, I don't know what kind of airbrush he has, but this little Neo, it's coming out the same way. So I'm really excited about using it for my ogres and my Mornfang Cav and the big beastie thing, Thunder Tusk thing. I even practiced on spray painting some smaller miniatures. I'm commission painting my buddy's High Elf army, so some of his wizards have cloaks, and I was just fiddling around with that. And this paint, even though these bottles are super small, it works great with just a little bit of thinner. It goes a super long way. And even the real crappy paint that I was using, the Palmer acrylic Eileens, which is what I get online, I love them from Blick Art. They're, I think, $1.19 a bottle, and it's 2.5 ounces worth. Even when I use that crappy paint in this with the medium that I bought for that paint, the acrylic paint, even that works good in this airbrush. So it wasn't the paint, it wasn't the water trap, it wasn't the pressure of my thing, it wasn't the hose, it wasn't, you know, it was nothing. It was the airbrush. And if I just would have listened to my buddy and just said, you know what, he has done this, he's done it for years, he has experience with it, I should just listen to him, buy it, and be done with it, and all that stuff. I don't know if I'm even better for having the experience of the other one, or even if in the back of my mind I would have been thinking, gee, I wonder if that other one would have worked. I mean, but for $7 you think, well, you know, it was only a $7 investment, but that's not what you're investing in. You're investing in the 3 months or 2 months of absolute frustration in dealing with an inferior product. So anyways, so this I wouldn't even give this to a friend. This is worth nothing to me. If somebody were to say, hey man, I'll give you $10 for this, I'll give you more than what you paid, I'll give you money for it, I don't even think I would sell it to anybody, because I couldn't live with myself knowing how much frustration they're going to have with it. So that's it. That's the product review, I guess. That's new with what's new with Rubicon. And again, I'm not going to edit all the stuff. So if I fumble over my words, that's it. I was just doing some real estate stuff upstairs, decided to come downstairs and take a little break and do this. I was getting a little bit of frustration getting on websites and updating my status and profile and things like that. So I decided to save somebody else some frustration. So here's what you need again. This is this. And I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not endorsing this, you know, worth any kind of money compensation or anything like this. I'm just saying, this is what you want. It's least expensive, best airbrush that I think that money can buy. So anyways, that's it. Neo Iwata. Everyone have a great day, and Rubicon is out.